This is exciting. All right, this is really exciting. Over the course of the past few days, probably about four or so, they released two of these pictures that are a little encryptive. Kind of gives you a little sense of a mystery, I would say. And I figured I'd bring a sort of visual representation of what I believe these could be. It seems to fit with the blurs. I did it in two different ways. For the first ghost is the easiest one to figure out. I did it where kind of overlays to make it a clear way to read it. And then the other one I kind of typed over the blurred. You guys let me know in the comments which one you like more. In case they do more of these encrypted. I haven't been around too long to know if they did this previously for the other ghosts. But let's go and get started. So at the top, at first it kind of looks like a C. Like it really looks like a C when you first begin. And then you try going into it. And it starts to read as if it's something completely different when you do a simple Google search and you find out what the wrathful spirit is, which tends to get you into my decrypted here, an Onryo, right? So the Onryo is often referred to as the wrathful spirit. It steals souls from what I believe is dying player bodies to seek revenge. This ghost has been known to fear any form of fire and will do anything to be far from it. Its traits will be extinguishing a flame can cause an Onryo to attack, which would be pretty exciting. That means there's multiple ways that a ghost can attack early, because usually you tend to feel a little safer in the early part of the game, depending on the different activities that occur or some of the quick things that you find that you can rule out some of these more aggressive ghosts. And now that's another one in there, kind of add more of the eerie feeling without them being overly active or overly aggressive. And we have going down to the weaknesses. When threatened, this ghost will be less likely to attack, which I'm not quite sure what exactly that's going to mean. Maybe y'all know, y'all can explain to me, but this is kind of my grasp here. It'll be nice. It's a whole other way of getting attacked as a flame, because if you have a flame, you don't know still if your sanity is low enough for the demon to pop in, or some of these others that attack early, and so you're not quite sure if it was because of the flame or not until you test it out a few times. But there's risk and reward in there. You could die because you're starting the haunts. You really don't know. But overall, I believe this is what it is. We can go back and forth again. You see here, you see the blurred text. The only thing I changed was from dying player bodies. It could be from dying enemy bodies, but that seemed to be what fit. They blurred it pretty well, where they cut off sometimes at the bottom, like tags, I guess you want to call it, like on a P, a G, a Y, for some of these, so it makes it kind of difficult to tell. I'm not sure if it's dying enemy bodies, like we're the enemies to the ghost. But overall, that seemed to be what fit very well. It looks like it's dying blank bodies, right? And then form of fire seems to fit in both because you're extinguishing a flame. So I feel like this is pretty strong here. And then when threatened and likely to attack, you can clearly tell there's a likely in there, and then 2 fits in there, and so does attack. It fits so well. It might be likely to something else, but I'm pretty confident in a lot of this. And as you can tell in the left over there in the listing, I also wrote down the twins, which will lead us into the next one here. So we have these, say this one's a little harder. It's really hard. They really blurred the heck out of this. And this is the first one that they announced. And I gotta say, they did a really good job on trying to make it very suspicious on what it is, because they added the. Not only is this hard to read or decrypt, but they added the, which they've never done before in any of these, right? You got Spirit Ray, you got them all. You can see the list. However, in this one specifically, they have the. It's completely throws off, and you think it's a single one, the joke, the whatever, right? But usually these are plural, like yokai are multiple, hantu are multiple. You know, like every name that they have there is multiple. So you can say the wraiths have, or wraiths have, right? So you really don't know, but because they threw the, you can't have it as like a pronoun. It's not. It makes it difficult with the English language, which is already messed up to begin with. But that's a whole other deal. So with the twins, it seems to fit the best. We do have numerous ghost times where the twins appear. You know, in Western culture, you have The Shining. You do have a lot on in I want to say it's Japanese culture. I'm not sure which one it is, but twins appears it's just a normal thing all over the world, right? Where twins are creepy ghosts and they work together. They bounce off of each other's actions or thoughts and stuff, which will lead us to what this could possibly be. So we have a blank, right? Have been reported to mimic blank actions, blank, 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 attacks to confuse blank, blank, blank. Now there you can clearly tell it says attacks to confuse their prey, meaning there's multiple. Now the devs have also said that they never would do 2 ghosts at once, because that would not only would that reveal that it's a twins ghost, but it's just something that they just didn't want to work with. I couldn't quite remember what the reason was behind it, but I think that's the biggest one, is that it makes it difficult to hide what ghost it is without revealing the ghost, which is something that they did in the past with the doppelganger-ish style. I couldn't remember what it was, but they removed it from the game. I want to say it was in an early concept idea, where it would copy the players' skins, and so you wouldn't really be able to hide what type of ghost it is, because you already knew what type of ghost it was immediately once you saw that. And this is about investigating. It's not about trying to eliminate the ghost. So we can move. So we move on, right? We have strength blank, be angered, and initiate an attack blank, right? Blank. I'm not sure. I think there's 3 words in there. I think it says at any something. Your weakness is blank, which would be, it looks like clearly is the twins there, right? You have the 2 tag marks at the top for the T. And then will often interact with the environment. Now, if it's not twins, I'd be quite surprised. It could definitely be either an I. Some people are saying it's a J. I thought when I first looked at it, it was a J, like for a Jin. Because if you look at the J, it kind of looks like if they smeared it to the right, it could fit. And it could definitely be. I was thinking either like a Jester or something, but I tried fitting the text into that blur, and it just doesn't fit. Jester, Jinx, it just doesn't match the length. As you can tell in my other one, I used font directly from what they used to fit it. And that's why you can tell here that fits very well into there. Like you can tell, it's like if I'm blurring the picture itself, right? Like you can clearly tell. Now, when it comes to this one, I wrote the text on top so you can get a little more visual here, and this is what I came up with. So you have the twins. These ghosts have been reported to mimic each other's actions. They usually use attacks to confuse their prey. Now, the part that I'm not too sure about is these ghosts. They say that multiple times in a few of the other ghost types. I had looked through the book a bunch of times, took screenshots, and tried to review what words they commonly use to kind of get an idea. Because usually there's a theme. When someone creates something, there's a theme to their work. And especially when it comes to the way that they write. And I want to say that the first one is these ghosts. It fits well in there. It looks nice. The smear works. If you look, you can tell that there's an exclamation. But there's a little tag at the bottom. I call it tags. I don't know what you want to call it. There's little. It looks like there's something that's hanging, right? And I can't really tell what that would be. These something. It's not twins. It wouldn't be twins. It wouldn't be the twins because there's nothing that hangs. Maybe it's the G that's smeared all the way across, and after it went back and forth. Because that's usually what the smear thing does. And then have been reported to mimic each other's. That's the best I could fit. I don't see a tag at the top. I don't see, was it apostrophe? I think, I don't know, I forgot my grammar. Anyways, so each other's actions, right? They usually use fits in there. I try thinking of other ways, like there, but there seems too long to fit into that specific slot. So we have they usually use, it might be they commonly use, they frequently use. I tried using those, they seem not to fit quite well in that blurb. It's a little too long or something of that lines. But they usually use sounds odd, but it still makes sense. And then attacks to confuse their prey. Again, we're back going to there, so it has to be multiple ghosts. I feel like one is going to be haunting while the other one is making the noise or doing actions. Or they're kind of both doing actions together, but only one will initiate the haunt. Because you can't have it where, as I mentioned before, you can't have it where both are haunting at the same time. Then you'll know what it is. Because as soon as the haunt's done, even if they're in 2 separate rooms, right, and they catch 2 separate players, one player is gonna be like, "Oh my God, the ghost!" I know this happens where you think the ghost is always chasing you, and sometimes it's only chasing somebody else. It just sounds close. They might be able to mess with that, but if both people see the ghost, then they're gonna tell the other person, and they're gonna know, right? They're gonna know that it's twins. Now, the models, they can be the same. They can be both identical models. It doesn't matter what models that they use, but the fact that there's twins. One is usually portrayed in movies and such as one is more playful, more aggressive. You have those 2 types. Some more deadly than the others. One's kind and one's mean. They could portray this too as well. That one plays a lot more. But when we start getting into to the strengths here. The twins can be angered and initiate attack at any point. I feel like that fits, but I don't see that little hanging tag marker. I don't know what you want to call it, but I don't see the bottom part of the P being smeared in there. So it might be at any. I try thinking of sanity, but there's no Y mark. So I'm not sure what that is. But the first one, you can clearly tell it is at, or initiate an attack on. It might be on. That's another one, but it's very hard to find any hanging letters in there. I don't see anything that could be dropped down other than the little first blurb. Could be initiate an attack on any. I don't know. See, like there's nothing that fits. This is the perfect amount of letter length. Anything more, and it just doesn't fit into the little blurs. You can tell there. So then you go down to the weaknesses. The twins will often interact with the environment at the same time. That seems to fit perfectly in there. And I'm thinking what that means is you might have like in the same room, they're tossing multiple things that are going on. Maybe it's in different rooms. I don't know. But we already have difficulty telling when there's a what kind of ghost it is, even when they're super active. So this can still fit in there. You know, you have some of those like the poltergeist just tossing stuff around. Kind of mixes up what that could be, right? There's usually enough. If you get 2 evidence, you can kind of tell what type of ghost it is depending on the way it's been behaving, but not always clear, right? Like you can't always know. You want to confirm that third one just in case most of the time, unless there's something that's a clear indication, like their footsteps. You can't see them or whatnot, right? Because you also have the ones that they throw items across, which can be almost as active as the poltergeist. So this kind of fits into that role too as well. So this is pretty nice. You have where different people play safe. I don't know how it's going to work. What if the ghost is actually 2, but they only display 1 at a time in the same room, but it's like they jump? I don't know if that will indicate 2 as well. I don't know if that would be good or not. You know, I don't know if that's going to indicate what type of thing that is or not, but who knows? Who knows? Only time will find out. I'm kind of excited. Plus, they put the background. They put the background in there. That clearly shows there's a moon in the corner. Just like if you go into a lobby area and they talk, I think it mentions a moon or something, or not the lobby area, but when you go into the van, when you first start, I think there's something about a moon in the documents there too as well. And then it's about a campsite. You clearly see a photo of a campsite with the camera like fell on like its side, so it's like a side shot, and you can clearly tell in there that there's going to be a campfire. They try to hint and throw different things saying it's not. And this was I think a skybox, what they call it, kind of like a sandbox. I highly doubt that. There definitely is a campfire that's going to come up next. And I really like those little teaser leaks that they do, especially this. This was like a decryptive message. Unfortunately, there's no clear answers what it could be because it's just blurs. It's full of blurs. There's nothing you could do about that. But overall, this has been cool. I'm pretty excited to see what this has to bring. I want more maps, though. More maps. And I'm excited for that campfire. Some of these maps are getting pretty repetitive, and some of them I just don't like to play. They're too big if I'm playing a solo. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm on the right track. Maybe I'm not. Only time will tell when this October update comes out and see how close it was. But we'll see. Who knows? I'm freaking excited.